I'm here with Dafna Rehavia, who is an artist and art psychotherapist, originally from Tel Aviv, Israel. She's currently based in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and she works in the field of art therapy and also employs feminist sociocultural views in her work. This is a pleasure to have you here. I'm very interested in learning more about what you do.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. You address issues of survival and identity.
I think it's incorporated in my approach as a psychotherapist. I think maybe to start, it's important to say that I'm using art, and I'm coming from the art, and I'm also coming from the psychology field. So I'm combining the two together. Usually I follow the needs of people who I work with. So when there are issues that relate to identity, obviously it comes through the work. It comes through the work, even if it comes through the art. This is the things we work on. So when I talk about identity, obviously we all forming our identity since we start our life in one way or another. And our identity is also influenced by the social environment that we live in. So it becomes like sort of interaction between who we are, where we're coming from, the culture we're coming from, the place we were born, the place we grew up, our experiences, and the people we meet around us in our lives. Together it may create sometimes conflicts, sometimes it raises questions, sometimes it raises sort of uncertainties about oneself, where to go, how to understand themselves, how to interact. So these are things that we can explore together. So I understand you read from my CV over there, but when I work with someone, it's not about my CV. It's about theirs. It's about what the person brings with them. And it's a lot about the interaction that we have during our sessions, during our time together. So, of course, the contact is really, really important. And slowly we create some trust, and people bring themselves, whether it's through their art, through their verbal interaction, through their body language. There are many ways that we talk. I also studied the fields of art therapy, fields of creative art therapy. I studied therapy, creative art therapy. I studied counseling. I studied psychology, social studies, and cultural studies, and I studied a lot, like gender studies. So different stages in my life, I did study different approaches into psychology, but also I studied just fine arts separately. So,
and I see these structures behind you. Did you make those?
Oh, I'm working on it just now. I just made it this morning. Not all of them. Like it's a series. And this, I just finished it now. I didn't know you see it. You see?
I can see it. Yeah, it's really cool.
It's based on the idea of IV, like
okay.
What you use for how do you call that, intravenous liquid that you put in the body. So the idea is, well, I have to tell you probably if you see that. Maybe I have a bunch of it here. Do you see that?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm actually working on it now. I'm taking part in the Immigrants Art Biennial. It's gonna take place in New York. that is supposed to take place in October. And I work on these pieces for this biannual. And these pieces are connected to mother tongue and language. And I put it all in sort of containers that reminds this IV. And I look at it as IV and ID, like together, like identification documents and this IV all together. It's like my art and my healing combined together, but the healing approach. In these IVs, they hold personal materials which they become political as well. So there's all kind of documents, passports, ID documents, printed matter about women, bunch of ground, things, materials that comes from my own life or reflect something about my own experience, but also I think other people experience. I can bring one closer. I mean, as we speak, I'm working on it actually. This is also, I've just done this lately. I don't know if you can see that.
Yes.
This is from yesterday.
What did you put in there?
This here, there's part of my passport. So it's an Israeli passport. And what it said is that the person who holds this passport anywhere in the world, wherever you go, if he shows you that passport, you need to help him. And it's interesting to in contrast, to think about what's going on today or in America, how people come to America and they're not being helped. On the contrary, they're being pushed away. I have in what I did today, I have pieces that are called mezuzah, which is a symbol. It's a Jewish symbol that you put on the door, and it's a protective symbol, like protect yourself and protect whoever comes to you. And again, my choice is to put it in something that needs to be healed.
It's fascinating, really. It's so cool.
Yes, I can show you closer. So this exhibition is they emphasize the issues of language and mother tongue and language, and and I think it works well with what I'm doing in the moment. I also going to have a solo exhibition at Boom Concept, if you know about them. So this will be in December. So I'm hoping to have part of this work over there as well, including some other works I'm working on, which is not here at the moment. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. My work is going to be about trauma. Will be presented there. I did change the name. The name was supposed to be, my original name was, how do I call it? Somatic Aesthetics, S3. But I've changed it a bit also because everything that is happening lately, I thought I should have something with a little bit more hope. So it's going to call Binds and Bonds. Again, somatic experience, not the aesthetic, but somatic experience, although the works will show something I think of as somatic aesthetics. The vision of it will be, I think, very, very much in line in what I defined as somatic aesthetics.
Now, as a therapist, do you guide people to create art?
I do, yeah. So as a therapist, one of my aims is to bring the people who come to me to be creative. My main goal is actually to bring them to a place where they express themselves also in a creative way. And one of my, I can't do it with everybody. Not everybody are open for that, and it's not coming easy. I'm not telling them what to do. I'm learning the people who come, and from them I can get the idea where they need to go. I can guide them, but I don't tell them what to do. I may be able to offer them materials, but the aim of the work is to create connection. The aim of the work is the contact we're going to create. The aim of the work is it's the process itself. I do not guide them or support them to do something in order to show me the end product, because that will affect the process. So I do guide them to use it as a means of conversation. They talk to me when they create, non-verbally. They can also talk verbally, but while they create next to me, it's a conversation. It's a non-verbal conversation. So afterwards, we can also have a verbal conversation on the experience they had, on the process they had, and from that, they gain a lot of information about themselves. Where do they want to go? What do they like? Where do they want to take themselves and their art? I mean, it's all together, actually. And it can be that we can use different modalities of, it doesn't have to be just art, a visual art. It can be also work through the body. It can be also with some movement. I don't know. I mean, it can be even music. I know it when we work. Where to go.
So you allow people to express themselves however they want. They can use any medium.
They can use any medium, yes. They can, yeah. Of course, when they come to my studio, I'm limited with the materials I can offer, but they can take it then to their own studios to take it to the next level. But I can definitely, the aim is to create this conversation while they go into an artistic process.
If the person is having trouble expressing themselves creatively, or the creativity doesn't come naturally.
Yeah, it's again, it doesn't matter what I'm going to say now, it won't be right for everybody. We start our therapy contact as usual in a verbal way. We talk, you have to get used to me as a person. He has to get used to hear my accent. He has to, he has to kind of accept our situation, and it might take some time. I will find out what stops the person. Oftentimes, I work with them together. We create a basic dialogue together on the same page. I can divide the page to different pieces, different sections. We can have a very light, very, very light and fun conversation. And actually, I don't even say we're going to paint or we're going to create or you're going to do art. I'm saying we are going to play. So it's not about making art, it's about play. I think artists learn to take to the next level, but most people forgot how to do it. And if you look at very young children, you'll see that they can play all day long. And they play with their imagination, and for them it's pretty real. And I think we are grown-up people forgot how to do it. So we have to go there first. We have to go to a place where we left when we were younger and move forward. We kind of jumped to the verbal stage, started to analyze things and kind of move away from so much. But for artists, I think do have it. Yeah, and sometimes we do have blocks, like creative blockage, and it's okay. I mean, it's if we have it, so there's a reason there. We have to go to the bottom of it. See if there, see what holds us back. See if we have fears. See if we think too much, and we stop it by our overthinking and our own judgments, which interfere. I think most people want to do something very, very. No, I don't know. I can't say most people, but there's you can fall into some ideas of beauty that you want to create. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of internal judgment that we
When you
need to
say
let go of.
play, I think of the inner child
Yeah.
and, how it's repressed or suffocated or wounded in a lot of people. And then, I mean, there's also younger people who've maybe gone through trauma. Through the creative work that you're doing with them, if that's very wounded, is it a longer process, or does it get tough to have people express themselves?
It's painful. I mean, you go to places. I mean, it's to meet your inner child. I think it's an awesome experience. It's exciting. It's sad. It brings so much emotions, memories, and it does bring trauma. I don't think we need to stay away from things. I think we need to come closer and get in touch with everything we do, Clary. I think there's a lot of discoveries when you get in touch with your inner child, with your internal part, the child part. Because when you get in touch with it from today as an adult person, you revisit it from a different perspective. So you had the perspective you hold when you were a child, and when the trauma did happen. But when we revisit and revisit and revisit, we get more insights and more aspects and more point of views also as an adult. And there are ways to heal the trauma. It's not going away, but the weight of it will be a bit lighter. And it's not just through revisiting the child part or express it through the art. It's also stored in the body, and we need to release it from the body, actually. And one of the reasons I like installations is because you can use your body because it's big, and it forces you to create all kind of body movement, which can contribute to release some of the trauma. And also I go to the verbal, we talk about it. So it takes it from one level to another level, another conscious level. Because a lot of time when we do art, we're not necessarily conscious to it. And it's okay not to be conscious. It has an effect even if we don't talk about it, even in unconscious. We don't have to speak about it. The whole somatic experience don't really speak about the trauma. They just release it, which is possible.
Do you ever use the use of archetypes?
It's not, when you ask if I'm using it, it's there. Mm-hmm. It's there. I'm not going to say consciously I'm going to use this or use that. It's just there. I do like archetypes. I have them in my art. I even have a repetition of same archetypes since I started to do art, and it's still present in my work. I mean, I revisit that again and again, and it's kind of shocking to me to see, oh, it's here again. But it is, yeah. I think people have their own symbols, but if you dig a little bit deeper, you'll see the archetype.
Do you ever make them conscious of archetypes that may be coming up to the surface?
What do you mean? When I work with people or with myself?
Yeah, with other people.
So there is something called timing.
Mm-hmm.
And when you work with someone, you need to know what not to say or what not to comment. And it's important just as much or even more. Because it's enough if someone is stuck and you just start to flow, to let them flow. then stop them by having their mind paying attention to what they're doing. So I think timing is important, and I not necessarily make anyone aware to anything if the time is not right, if they're not ready, because everybody has to go through some sort of process, and the readiness will come up. I mean, I know with my own archetypes that I have this specific archetype that keeps repeating. I didn't know what I'm doing. It just came up again and again, and it's just, when I saw it years and years ago, I said, well, okay, welcome. You want to be in my work? I'm welcoming. But I don't know. I think 30, 40 years ago, I didn't know what it is. I had no clue, but I let it be. And today I know. I'm more conscious, and we have love affairs. Yeah, but it's today I'm more aware. I'm so aware why it comes like this for these last 2 months versus it wasn't here a year ago, but why did it came 3 years ago? And I can see how it's how I'm influenced by what's going on around us all the time. So it's a dialogue. The dialogue you have with yourself, with your own archetypes, is not just with yourself. It's also with the outside world, with your environment, with your cultural environment, with the political situations. So it's all the time inside, outside, outside, inside. It's all the time in process. Yeah.
I very much resonate with that. There's a right time to say something. As a mediator, you have to let things take on a certain process. You have to let people have their own insights. You have to let people come to certain epiphanies and outcomes without kind of taking the merit at the end of it that you did it, or that you really helped them there. They have to think that they came up with it by themselves. And on some level they did. We all did on our own. But
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're a guide. You work like a guide. You're an emotional guider. Or you can say spiritual guider, or whatever it takes. It's body, mind. So I also think of myself, I'm just guiding someone. It's not my work. I don't recognize it even as my work. I'm guiding people to, just like you do, to meet with themselves, to meet with their interjects, to meet with the contact they have outside and inside, to meet with their own symbolic internal life, whatever. It's a guidance.
It's almost like a certain energy or vibration wants to come through everybody. It's not one person or directing it. It's like you said, you are the guide for that energy, that vibration. Do you see your work as overall spiritual work? Do you employ certain spiritual techniques or beliefs?
It depends how we define spiritual and how we define spirituality.
Right.
So again, it's how the person feels. It's not me. I mean, I'm welcoming any culture, any religion. Everything is okay because, we all meet with all of it. We don't really have to define it even. So for some people, it can be spiritual. Like at the moment, I work with so many people through mindfulness and meditation. Sometimes will be the way we start. So they will connect to some peace, internal peace, and we go from there. So when some of these people connect to their internal peace, and it comes with some activity, imaginal activity, which is beautiful, and they want to share, and it is very spiritual. especially now when we are in quarantine, sitting in our own home, and we can go using the imagination to anywhere we want, or places, to revisit places in childhood. So I think it is very spiritual in some ways, but it depends how the person experiences it. How do they experience it? I can also sometimes invite people. I tell them, I'm not doing the healing for you. I can give you a hand, and we go into your journey together. So you'll have guidance, so you'll have someone to ask questions, but it's not my journey. I'm just giving you a hand. So some people will sense it as spiritual. I think of it more as a creative process. I think it's all creative. We create through our conversation, we create through our thoughts, our imagination. We are all artists. I think my art is very me, very political, usually not falling into any kind of aesthetic taste. Think of myself as going against the aesthetics, maybe general taste. I just do what I like, just whatever comes, I just do. I have some interesting work that are more connected to women's experience, and there's some of them you can find on my website. One of the works that I have a big series at the moment is about female genital mutilation. So you can find it. You can find samples there. And I actually don't remember what I upload at the moment. I have to check it. I mean, I'm connected at the moment to these works I'm doing here. I love it. Yeah, I love it. I like to touch it and kind of think what to put in there. I have a few documents that at the moment next to me that I want to create. I want to create an IV for them too. These are really interesting documents, but I'm still in the process of digest them. I have a Palestinian passport and I have an Israeli passport. Both belong to my dad. And a real IV with that belongs to him, and I just want to somehow connect them together. I think I'm having a hard time to close them in an IV, so I need to think where I'm going with this. Yeah.
That's just amazing. That really is.
Yeah.
Do you put anything else besides the passport inside?
Usually, yeah. I can show you what. I have this IV. It's with fluid. That's a Palestinian passport from 1947, 1946. I can check the date actually. And you open it from right to left, and no, it was done by British Empire because they will rule the area. Looking for the date. Don't know. It's before 48 for sure, because the British Empire ruled the area till 48. Yeah, 46 till 51. So that's another passport, which is the Israeli one. They want to use all these, usual print stuff and stuff. And the other things I have inside, I usually put some ground. I did work a lot with ground, with earth. It's kind of very basic. It's, I don't know, we come from there, we go back there. So for me, it's very basic. I use fabric, which I print on, things that are significant for me. All kind of items that were part of my way or my path that I keep with me. I obviously keep lots of stuff. So mainly these are the items I use.
Thank you so much for the incredibly meaningful and healing work that you're doing, that we very much need in our world.
Yeah, yeah, we do. We definitely do. Thank you for inviting me, and it was a pleasure to meet with you.